Hello everyone, welcome to another interesting workshop of IBC 2.0 Continuum by IBC Media. IBC 2.0 is the second edition of a massive 5-year agenda. We are enabling the largest blockchain ecosystem initiative in India. Today we have Mr. Tushar Ojha from Subsocial with us, who will be showing us how to build decentralized social media using Subsocial. Now, as you already know, Polkadot is our headline sponsor, and together we are hosting the IBC Hackathon. In case if you haven't registered for the challenge yet, then please check out the link in the chat box. I have shared it and register yourself. Now, let me talk about one important tool which is very quintessential for the hackathons is Discord. You can use Discord to connect with the mentors, you can connect with fellow participants, you can share ideas. It's a great platform to learn and collaborate. So I highly recommend you scan the QR code on the screen and become a part of our Discord server. Now, without further ado, I'll introduce the speaker. So, Tushar has been a software developer since the age of 12 and is a speaker at React India. Now, Tushar is a tech and open source enthusiast with a good history of working with startups and MNCs. He has worked on technologies like Flutter, React, React Native, Android, and Merge. He loves learning new technologies and giving back to the community through YouTube, webinars, and masterclass. And it so happens this is a perfect match for Tushar and our workshop today. So, hello, Tushar. Very nice to have you with us. Welcome.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So thank you for having me on this session. And I'm also really excited about today's workshop because what we are going to learn today, like we are going to learn something new. We're going to build at the same time. So there's a lot of things which we're going to do today, and that would be amazing for you as a beginner to start on. And the thing which we are going to do today is very impactful as well at the same time. So I guess we can start, Deepak. I think it would be good to go.
Yeah.
I'll share my screen. I'll share my screen in a second. So I hope everyone can see the screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. All right. So once again, welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to talk about building next generation social media using Subsocial. So this is a very new thing which we're going to explore today together, that what is next generation, why I'm calling some social media as next generation, how Subsocial can be a part of it, and what are like different sorts of possibilities you can explore using Subsocial and using React. So if you are a bit familiar with React and stuff, then I guess you would be the perfect match for it. But without wasting time, let's start. Actually, let's see, first of all, the prizes. So we are sponsoring to this hackathon, and we are coming with a prize pool of up to $5,000. Where there are a couple of challenges which I'm going to tell you later in this session, on which you can together team up and build over the hackathon duration and can avail these prizes. So yeah, let's see first of all what Subsocial is, because we already been talking about Subsocial. I've mentioned it a couple of times. So Subsocial is a uniquely positioned blockchain which is custom built for social networking. So if you think about today's social media, then there are actually a couple of problems with today's social media. For example, you have seen things like Russia bans Facebook and Instagram during the time of war. Twitter permanently suspends Trump's account. Facebook, like the lot of rumors about Facebook spreading hate speech on their platform for profit. So there are tons of things which are going wrong with today's centralized social media. So we want to take this power out from these centralized bodies and give this power to the users, the persons who are creating content, the persons who are engaging on the platform and spending their crucial time. So with Subsocial, you can do this. Subsocial is a blockchain dedicated and loaded with the features that you need to create your own decentralized social media. So your users and everything they do will be available on a serverless public timeline. That means it's not hosted on a AWS or any Azure server around the world, but it's your whole thing is spread across the world on Subsocial blockchain. You got the features like you can create a social media which is censorship resistant. So the people own the content they create, and people can choose what they want to see and what they don't want to see. There would be still access for roles and permissions which you can set for different things. So there are tons of things and like monetization options which are possible. So that's the beauty of it. So, but like this all this all idea seems very nice, but it's very important for us to understand the architecture first, that how does it actually work. So is it just that we are saying like this is a good idea, or it can actually work? So here's the architecture of Subsocial, that how Subsocial works. So Subsocial is a part of Polkadot or Sama ecosystem, where in the bottom line you can see that the blockchain is developed using Substrate. So we have custom palettes for Substrate for things like ownership, moderation, post, rules, follows, space, like everything you do in today's social media platforms, like every single thing that is like those things are available as custom palettes on a blockchain itself. So you don't need to worry about writing some smart contracts to achieve these things. For example, following profiles. So those things are already pre-built into a blockchain. And on top of this layer, you can see comes the IPFS. So things like hash or a transaction or IDs are stored on the blockchain itself, whereas the content about your thing, for example, if you created a post, so the ID of the post is stored on the blockchain, which is going to live forever and is on a specific Subsocial blockchain. Then the content that maps this ID, for example, you created a post about cats, so that particular post content is stored on a decentralized network, which is interplanetary file system. So you can choose where you want to host this IPFS, and this is also 100% decentralized. And so you don't need to worry about IPFS and custom palettes and how these things are going to work and how you're going to link those, map these values. These all things are mapped and like built in a beautiful way, which I call as Subsocial JS SDK. Using a Subsocial JS SDK, you can actually like just don't worry about how the blockchain works, how IPFS works, and how these connects. You can just care about building for your users, building a dApp for your user, decentralized application for your users. Using that JS SDK, you can import this into your Node app, React app, Next.js app, or whatever you like. So we already have a lot of things like that. And as you can see, this is the app layer where you are going to working right now. Like you're going to build your decentralized apps and you using a Subsocial JS SDK. So I think it's a good time for us to actually see an example of it, that how does it a decentralized social media looks like, and how like is something built on Subsocial or not. So let me quickly take you to this website. So here on this website, you can see a couple of things. So this is our web app, which is powered by Subsocial blockchain and Subsocial JS SDK. You can see there are a couple of posts, like this is a post by this creator, and this is a post by this creator. You can do some liking or sharing this post to someone, or you can also actually, I have to open it in a browser which supports the Polka.js extension. So if you're familiar with the blockchain world, there is something called wallets, which gives you access to this decentralized network. So that holds all your assets and your keys from which you can sign transactions. So if you see, for example, I click on this post, you can read the content about the post and everything. You can see the creator, you can donate to this creator directly. You can upvote this, and whenever you click on something like do some thing, so you choose your account from which you have to sign a transaction, and then you can type the password to sign this transaction. And as this transaction completes, this vote has been already added. So that's how it works. Everything is on the decentralized layer, and it helps you build for the next generation of social media, which takes the power of from the centralized body to these creators. So if Bill Lagoon decides to not post on app.subsocial.network, he can create his own website and still got all the content, all the followers he has. So the social graph is actually shared across different apps, and you can take it with you, rather than if Twitter bans you today, all your followers are lost. But with Subsocial, if a particular web app blocks you, you can still access to those followers, and they can still access your content. It's not deleted. It's you can post it on your separate website or a separate user interface. So that is the best thing about having things in the decentralized format. So if we look about the content structure, as I already explained a bit, so we have something called a space. So a space is basically a collection of posts where you can, if you create some content, so you can couple, like you can just convert your content and like in a list or a stack, and then like that content all together. Let's say you love to write about um, like some stories, you like to write stories, so you can create a space about stories, and you can create multiple posts inside that space. So those would be like all the posts you created about stories are inside this space, and people can repost it, people can reply, people can also react to this. So this is the basic content structure. A space contains posts, repost, replies, and then like, and for those posts there could be some reactions or something. So yeah. And what's data stored on a blockchain? I told you, as I told you, transaction hashes, content IDs, scores, reactions, the count of your reactions, those things are stored on the blockchain, whereas the content, actual content about those posts are stored on interplanetary file system, IPFS. And you can, plug and play. If you want to use some other IPFS, you can use. By default, we support a couple of them out of the box. So yeah, this is beautiful. I guess before getting on to the challenges and prizes section, I should ask you if you have any questions in between, then just keep asking me in the chat. I can read it at the same time while I'm speaking. So yeah, let's digest what we just gone through in just a couple of minutes. So we understood about what a decentralized social media is, why it matters, what were the major problems which we saw with the centralization of social networking. So with Subsocial, how you can resolve it, we also saw that. We saw an example of a decentralized app built on Subsocial, that how you can interact with it, you can create posts on it and everything. You can just explore it yourself as well. You can just head on to app.subsocial.network and try out one of the decentralized app which is built on Subsocial blockchain. And we also studied about what types of data are stored on the blockchain and the IPFS. So that's all what we have covered so far. I hope this is getting really exciting, because if not, I have a list of challenges and prizes which you all can see. So just take a look at this. So we, for this particular hackathon, we are giving you 3 challenges which you can take part in. One is create a browser extension to resolve subsocial domains, backup tweets data on subsocial by authentication. I'll elaborate each one of those. Create a fully decentralized social blogging app. So yeah, if we talk about a browser extension to resolve subsocial domains, so basically Subsocial also have a feature called domains, where you can create your domain names, like for example, tusharoja.sub, tusharoja.remark, RMRK, or anything like that. And from those domains, these domains are posted on these blockchains, like on our Subsocial blockchain. And then what you can do, you can create, like you can attach some extrinsic values to this, for example, inner value, outer value, content. So whenever someone goes to this domain, they can see what's your address, who owns this domain. So it's very easy to remember, rather than remembering the whole hash address of an account. So what we want you to do is that create a browser extension for a Chrome, Brave, or any other browsers. Like create an extension where what we can do, if someone enters the particular domain, you just redirect the user to the linked website or linked content across it. So it could be more of seamless experience with the browser extension. So you can read more about it on this link, which I have mentioned, github.com/dapforce, which is the parent organization, /subsocial bounties. So another challenge we have is about tweets data. So Twitter can block you at any time, and you cannot do anything about it. All your content will be lost. So technically, you don't own your content. What we want to you to do is that build a solution for us, in which if I, as a user, go to your DApp or website, I can just link my Twitter. I can log in from my Twitter account on that website, and I can sign a message or something from the wallet. So what will happen? Whatever post I'm going to create, whatever tweet I'm going to create, all my tweets, even the past tweets which I have created so far, going to be automatically backed up onto the Subsocial blockchain. So even in case if Twitter bans me or whatever happens, my Twitter account got lost, it got hacked or anything, I still have that content available on the blockchain. So that is very interesting thing you can try on building. Now, next thing which we would love to see from the participants to build is a fully decentralized social blogging app. So what do I mean with this? So actually, if you uh, think about this, the website I just saw you like share to you is kind of like have a centralization in a point. For example, like it is app.subsocial.network. So it is hosted on a centralized server, like for example, the front end at least. So we want you to use Subsocial blockchain, create a blogging app which is customizable with full features, like you can customize themes, elements, headers, footers, and everything. And then this should be 100% decentralized. For example, the even the front end should not be hosted on Vercel or anything like that. It should be hosted on decentralized platforms like RMware, or there are a couple of these solutions which allow you to host your website decentralized, like the front end part decentralized, and blockchain is already decentralized by us. So you don't need to worry about that. And also you can use a domain like a Subsocial domain or something like that to even give an endpoint to it. So yeah, this is amazing. To take a deep look into all of these things, just head on to the URL, which is also sent in the chat right now. So yeah, let's see. I got one question: network data structure, for example, from LinkedIn and other platforms are so complex. How is this complexity handled in the decentralized world? So actually, the algorithms like data structures are always meant to be very simple. Even like the network data structure you're talking about from LinkedIn. So with Subsocial or with in general blockchain, these querying thing, for example, like the data structures are always simple. It's just the algorithms which makes the best out of it, and make you feel that a lot of complexities are going on. So complexities handled are at the algorithmic level, and the data structures are like sort of in a simple format. So what you can do if you want to build a LinkedIn or anything like that, and like you want to get a feel how those things work, so the data structure would be still the same. You store the connections and everything following onto the servers, onto the blockchain, and then you can use solutions like Subsequid or Subquery or these things, which gives you a GraphQL endpoint. So what they do, like they are also decentralized. They allow you to query the blockchain to get some sort of data you want, and like do some querying on that. So you can create some algorithms and do really good stuff. Like you can achieve to the similar extent with this. Of course, there would be a lot of like improvements going to be there over the time, but yeah, that is one of the important things. So yeah, if you have any other questions, you can ask. These are like a couple of learning resources which we have for you. Like we have templates for React, Vue, or Angular. If you want, we have like a docs website and a couple of things like the playground. So I'm going to show you right now. In between, like if you have some further queries, just keep asking. I'll show you our website. So if you go to subsocial.network, and so this gives you a brief idea about what Subsocial is and everything about the token. But for us as a developer, we should go to build platform. So here you can read about the light paper, the features about Subsocial and every single thing. And there are a couple of dApps which are built on Subsocial in our SDK. So let's head towards the documentation of this whole thing. So you go to docs.subsocial.network and the develop tab. Here you will see the list of resources you have. So if you are a beginner and you want to see what are the prerequisites if you want to build a dApp on Subsocial, you can head on to this page and see all the prerequisites. But for now, let's move towards getting started and see what Subsocial is. Like everything is explained in detail, how you can install in with simple commands. So if you have created any React app or anything like that, then you can use the command like yarn add @subsocial/API, and this would be installed in your project. Then there are a couple of APIs, different types of APIs we have to connect to the blockchain, to connect to the IPFS layer and different layers. And we also have a testnet. So a testnet allows you to, while you are building and while you are in the early stage, you can use this testnet to get some free tokens, since a token is not listed, and you can build on to that. So yeah, these are all are the commands and everything which you need to connect to the testnet. And you can get the tokens by joining a Discord server. This is the link to that. And in that Discord server, you have to go to testnet faucet channel and write this command. So yeah, I guess that is enough of talk. We can actually see and just see some code now. So one of the important resources which we have is a quick reference guide. So while you are building, every single thing is very easy with Subsocial. Like I'm going to show you while building a project as well at the same time, but let's see like the commands and code you need to write to do something. So this quick reference guide is one of the things which you will need most of the time while building your project, because with this you can just go to the specific code snippet you want and just click on copy, and that's it. Like just paste it in your project and move ahead. If you want to read more, there's always a button for that. So let me show you one of our interesting projects that we have built for the developers around the world, which is play.subsocial.network. So it's a playground for you to actually try out Subsocial, how things work at Subsocial. So for example, as I mentioned and explained in the data structures, that there is something called space, post, profile, comments, reactions, like these data structures we have on chain. So here is the code to fetch a space data. So just see, in 3 lines of code, I have fetched a space using its ID. I click on run button and you will be able to see the output here. So this is the space which is mapped from this ID. So it fetched to the blockchain, got the data, and it also fetched from the IPFS and got the data and merged it and show it to you. This is how it looks. So if you see there, you see the account who created this particular space. You can see the block at which it was created, the timestamp was updated, the content ID. So this content ID is the key to map the IPFS and the blockchain. And you can see everything like, oh, is it owner? Is it hidden? Can followers, like the permissions I was showing you, that you can also control to the permissions. Like, can a follower create posts? Can everyone create posts? So these are false by default. So you cannot create posts in this. Not even this particular space follower can create a post, but only the owner can create a post. So this is the content about the space. So this is the about space thing. So this data is stored onto the IPFS layer. So you can see the content, the name of the space, tags if they have added. So you can customize it any way you want. So someone was asking about the data structure. So this is the data which is stored. You can customize it in any format. You can change the keys, pairs, everything according to the requirements of your dApp. So you can also get space data from the owner ID. So if you have the address of the particular person, you can get all the spaces that person have. So with just 3-4 lines of code, if I click here, so as of now, this is my account ID. So I don't have, we just reset the test network, but you can get all the accounts and all the post IDs from this. So yeah, we can do something like this. So with the space ID, we can get all the posts of that space ID. So like these all things are really interesting. So if you see, like with this 4 lines of code, we got all the posts on the blockchain with the IPFS content right here. Yeah, just one post for now. So since it's a test network, not a lot of content is already up there, but you can create, of course. One comment I got. Web2 such as what action you handle in front end part. So I think that's a really good thing. Actually, I have that thing planned. So in this session, what we're going to try to build is we're going to try to build a decentralized Twitter in the remaining time we have, and let's see how it goes. So I will just I'll quickly wrap up this playground demo, and then we're going to go ahead and try out that thing. So if you see here, so like there are a couple of options there, writing data, space. So every single thing which is accessible from our SDK, we are trying to add a wrapped layer for it. So you can just copy the code snippet and go ahead. So yeah, for example, this. If you want to create some content, so what you have to do is, if you have not installed, please install polka.js extension. This is a browser extension that helps you handle your account. So in Web3, all your accounts are handled from a private key and a public key pair. Private key is what you don't share to anyone, and public key is what you have to share to everyone so that they can find you over this Web3 network. So this is the public key which you can see for a test account and everything like that. So for example, if I want to create a space, a new space, you can see this is what I do. There are some internal functions which you can just explore onto our docs in this spatial area about some internal functions. But what we are doing is that from this particular test network, we are hosting this content on the IPFS. And yeah, with this much lines of code, actually this much content is what like this much lines of code is what creating a new space. Everything else is the starting point or the data which we want to store here. So if we just click run, it's you're going to see that it's going to create the transaction ready. It's going to send to the blockchain, then it's going to process, and then the transaction would be added. So it just broadcasted to the blockchain, like sent to the blockchain. Now it's going to process, and when it is in block, you will see the status, like every single thing. So I guess meanwhile, we can also move ahead with what's next here. You can just keep on asking your questions at the same time. I'll try to cover everything together. So yeah, actually, I thought like you will ask these questions. I was prepared for those, as always. So what you're going to see right now is one of very interesting things I have. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so what you are seeing here is a Twitter clone. So from the open source GitHub organizations, and like I just found this UI for like a very minimalistic UI for Twitter website, in which there's like just a Twitter buttons and every single thing. So I'll just use this UI. So you can redesign and do a lot of things with this. I just use this UI, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to connect this UI to the blockchain and add the logics and make this website as a decentralized Twitter. So if you see, this is the login page, which is like nothing, like there's no logics inside, it's just the UI. If you click go to home, this is the home page, like none of these works, only this page works. So yeah, this is the very simple and like a clean website. You can see just early stage clone of Twitter. So let's make it decentralized then. So here's the code for this website, which I downloaded. It contains the styling and every single thing about different components. It's built using React.js and a couple of styling libraries. So we're going to use these, and we're going to try to connect to the blockchain and do a couple of things there, creating content onto the space and every single thing like that. Before that, in case if you are still confused, we can I can pick up your questions and or anything like that at the same time. As of now, like is the theoretical part clear to you all, like what we are doing, why this is important, and how Subsocial is helping in this? Open the login component first. Is there any messages? No. Okay, sure. So what we're going to do for now, like this is the code for this thing. I'm going to open it in this format so we both can see together. Okay, so what we see here is this, like this code and this output. So I'm going to quickly create a new folder in this page here. Let's say calling this as logics. So all the logics and everything is going to be in this particular thing. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a folder called file called configs.ts, and we're going to paste the configuration required to connect to the test network here. So how we're going to build, we're going to go to this website, quick reference guide, and this is the details to connect to our test network. And also we have this understanding.test network. You can go here and you can just copy this. That's it. You got the configuration to connect to the test network. Beautiful. Now what we're going to do, we're going to also create a new file here. Let's call it as index.ts. Okay. So in this file, we're going to create like all the APIs and connect to the blockchain and everything, single thing around that. So let's create, first of all, a method where we are going to connect to the blockchain. Okay. Let's make it asynchronous. I hope like you all are familiar with the basics of JavaScript so that you can see how we are building and understand the code part as well. So let's say I just said we are connecting, ignore this linting and everything. Yeah, okay. So what we have to do here is that let's create a global variable for our API. So if you see in the quick reference guide or in the playground as well, we need to create a new API for us like this. So we're going to copy this thing. We're going to define here a let so that we can use it across different methods, right? So let's say Subsocial API. Okay. And what we're going to do here is that we're going to connect to this API, Subsocial API, subsocial.connect. You need to add this import statement as well. You can add the package using these commands. So I have already added these package. So what you can do is like you can just in a similar format, and we need to import the test config from here, which we created in this file. Yeah, I guess we are good. I think I should make it into JS so that I can avoid the types for now. But yeah, later on we can consider it being like that. All right. So we have actually written the code to connect to the test network. So yeah, once this is done, we can console.log connect it. So yeah, if we go back to the file of the login component here, what we can do, we can use the use effect hook in React, right? And in this, we can just call the connect method, which we defined in our file, not from the h2. Ready. Okay, yeah. So if we open the terminal in this as well, so you can see it started logging connecting, and in the background, like now it's connected. So it's actually connected to the blockchain now. So yeah, what are the integrated development environments IDs available to build the code, please? So you can use, like, this is a text editor called VS Code, which I'm using right now. You can use any of them which supports like writing JavaScript code. So yeah, most popular is this VS Code. And yeah, you can like go to the prerequisite page if you need to know in detail about what things you should know before building, or what, like, we have also provided about some resources to learn these things. So it's not just that these things you should know before starting into building decentralized apps using Subsocial. You can actually learn those right there. We have resources attached. So yeah, so you can see this is connected, but that's not it. We want to connect to this polka.js extension at the same time, because this is also a very important thing. So what we're going to do, we're going to call here a method on click, sorry. We're going to say connect wallet. Okay. So we have to define this method now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to say const connect wallet. So what we are attempting to do here is that when you log in, or when you want to create some post or anything like that, you need to be connected to the wallet so that you can ask the user to sign the transaction. So every single thing which is thrown to the blockchain to write, it has to be signed from an externally owned account, like the user account. So that's how we ask the user for the permission to do it. So there is like a library which you can use, which allows us to do this thing very easily. So I'm going to I can actually link that library, or that is, I guess I've added in the package.json file. This is the extension tab, polka.extension tab. So you can use this. All right. So to use it, you have actually need to, I'm just getting the boilerplate code so that it won't waste your time. What does this do? It just connects and gives you the access to the wallet. Explain this. So what is this doing? So we are using this library and importing these methods. We are checking, first of all, we are registering this dApp. You can put any dApp name here. for example, Twitter app Subsocial. And what we are checking if this extension is available. For example, on this Brave browser, I have this extension, but it might be the case where if I'm on Safari or any other browser which does not have this extension, we can just ask the user to say the user that you don't have this extension or just download it. We can share any resources like that. If the user has the extension, so but not authorized us to get some accounts, so we're going to throw them this message. But if everything else is okay, then we can get the extensions from there. So we can use Web3 account subscribe. So in this, we need to pass a callback, let's say a sync accounts. So it's going to give you the like in this callback, it's going to give you all the accounts that you need. So we're going to check if user has actually created some accounts or not, if this account's length is 0 or not. Okay, so this is the list of accounts which we have. And what we can do is we can say const addresses, like, so account object in this particular array contains the signer and a lot of things. So we just need, let's say, the address of that particular account, right? So we can do something like address means the public key for now, but actually it's something different. So we can do, like, if you see that we have a couple of properties here, metadata as well. So this polka extension allows you to get some metadata like name or something, but we don't need it for now. We just need address. So we got the address of the users for like an array. So it's basically an array since we mapped it. So we can just console log this addresses to see all the connected wallet addresses. So if I click here, you will see like I have 7 addresses which are connected to this Polkadot.js extension, like all these 7. So we got one of them, which is important for us. Now, what we need next is that we're going to basically fetch the user profile. So since we're going to open the home page, we want to fetch some data actually. So we can say something like fetch profile here, and we're going to pass the first address for now, like whatever the first address is, but you can add multiple checks here. And then we need to also like define this into a logics file. So the profile is basically for the home page. So if you see the home page, when we are here, we want the user's profile, but actually we can skip it for now. So user's profile is basically the account you signed in. If that profile is registered onto the Subsocial Subsocial chain, then you can get the user's profile. But for now, we don't need the user's profile. We just need to know the user's address or something like that. So we can, just say login with address. So we give this address so that in this page we get this address as well. So we're going to go here and we're going to create a variable here, selected address. Okay, and from here we can create a method is login with address. It does nothing but basically selects this particular address for us, so that when we need it, we have the access to the address, that which address the user selected. So we're going to import it in this file. And yes, now next thing which we should do is we should use the router so that we navigate the user from the login page to the home page. So what we can do, this is a kind of a boilerplate code which I need to write so that you can understand. Router, use router, and here once we got this, we can just say router dot push, and we can pass the name to the home tab. Okay, perfect. If we go back to the login page, if you see here, it says connecting. Now the blockchain is also connected. If I click on here, it logs all the accounts I have. Login with address is not implemented. 1 second. Is this imported? Okay, so this function is okay. So we have to import this function from the config, the index file which we created. Login with address from / logics. Okay. And we need to give the user this address. So we can say address. So yeah, if we click here now, we should be redirected to the home page. Let me refresh the page. Yeah, we are redirected to the home page. We got the list of all the accounts user have, and we have selected the first address, this one, which is for my personal account. All right, no problem. So now we are on this particular home page. So here, what we have to do, we are going to create two particular things here. One is that we're going to fetch all the Twitter tweets data, and one is we're going to create make sure this thing works. Like when you click here and you click on tweet, that actually creates a new tweet, right? So we're going to do these two things. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to the home page component. So this is the homepage component, and this is the tweet box. Tweet box contains this tweet thing. Okay. So let's implement the create tweet thing, and then implement the method from which we can fetch and display these tweets. So if you want to create so we are basically getting the tweet here. Automatically the value is updating in this variable. So whatever the user types in here, that is in this particular variable. So we just need to connect to the blockchain and then just push it to the blockchain, the content to the blockchain. Okay, no problem. Let's do this. Meanwhile, if any questions till now, or as of now, I haven't done much. I just connected to Subsocial blockchain and used the extension. Now we are going to actually see how you can create content on the Subsocial blockchain and just like implement the function. So this is also clear how you as a front-end developer can create dApps without worrying about the blockchain much. So I'm not caring about how when I send the transaction, how things will happen internally. It's going to be there because of the SDK. I can just call up these methods and get my thing done, right? So let's implement this tweetbox thing now. So for this tweetbox thing, we're going to create a new method. When you click on this button, like to create button, we need to have a particular sort of method there. So where is the button? Yeah. So on this, we're going to create post tweet handler. Okay. So this is the name of the function. So we're going to create this function post tweet handler. Asynchronous. Now, what we need to do here, we just need to call up a function onto our logics file. So let's say we just need to pass it post tweet and post tweet and the tweet data we got. And also what we're going to do, we're going to set the current tweet data to be empty so that user can write new tweets as well. Now we need to go back to this file and create a new method here. So we're going to create a new method, export const post tweet, and we'll get some tweet data here, which will be string. Now what we have to do, we have to use the Subsocial API and post it into a particular space. So now, as I told you, that spaces have a couple of properties like space ID and everything like that. So you can see the transaction was finalized. We were not just on this tab. It was finalized.
Wait to interrupt, Tushar, we just have one quick question here.
Yeah, this is the ID.
So this is an anonymous user, but they ask, can I implement some functionality that is not covered in the SDK? Is the question.
For example, like if the user wants to can you give me some example? What type of functionality? Like
anything which is not included in the SDK. You know?
Yeah, sure. So actually, this SDK is open source, and this SDK is, as I showed you, the architecture. So this SDK have a lot of things like combinedly, which helps you to write like the front-end developers to implement these functionalities. At the core, we have the blockchain. So anything which is available on the blockchain about like different palettes and different things, for example, domains is a very new thing which we have. So if you want to implement a functionality related to domains, which is not, let's say, added to our SDK. So you can add it to our SDK by writing some code for it, or you can create some functionality for yourself without using the SDK. So technically, if you want to actually connect to the blockchain and do a lot of things, you don't need our blockchain to do it. Our SDK to do it. Our SDK is just simplifying a lot of things. It's simplifying the schemas and the methods and types and everything, so that the process is very easy for you. But yeah, of course, this SDK is just using the blockchain and IPFS and like giving you the things you need to build. So you can create some functionalities out of the box as well. But those should be like, of course, they since these are on Subsocial, so the core level is the blockchain. So whatever you build could be around the blockchain. So if you have even some ideas on the core blockchain level, then you can also suggest them. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So we were about to write this post tweet thing, right? So in the post tweet, if you see what we're doing, we got the tweet data here when the user clicks on this and this. So one thing which I have to do right now is to get the tokens. So you can go to a Discord server, okay, and then from there, let me show it to you. I already exhausted my daily quota of test tokens, but yeah, I'll show it to you. You go to our Subsocial Discord server. There's something called testnet faucet. What you have to do, you have to click type drip space, and the particular wallet address you want to use for that particular thing. For example, if I want test tokens in this, I just copy it and I can paste it here. But as of now, since I've already used, okay, so the limit is not there. Perfect. Then I can actually get the tokens on my account. Yeah, so there is a limit of 1 hour in between you can get these tokens. So as of now, I have these tokens in this test account. So I'm going to use this test account for signing and posting tweet data as well. So yeah, thanks for sharing the link. So what we're going to do, we want to just post this data onto Twitter, onto Subsocial blockchain. So here we are going to first of all create, the data on the IPFS. So as you know, like we're going to create this data on the IPFS, we need to do something like API, this Subsocial API dot IPFS dot save content. What just happened? Sorry, I don't know. 1 second. Strange. Just ignore this. So api.ipfs.save content. Then here you can basically pass the data which you want to store. Make it asynchronous. So here you can pass the data that you want to store for now. For example, this could be in any data structure, any format you want. So in our case, what we can do is we can just pass the title of the tweet. Let's say we pass the title as the tweet data. And if you want, you can pass the this is the body, and you can change it in any format. And for title, let's say I did something like the user's address. So selected address could be the title. You can do a lot of things here, like you can customize it, you can add avatar or anything like that. So yeah, one more thing which we should do. So since we are on testnet and we need to write to the IPFS, we also need to use our own IPFS. So for test network, what you can do, you can go to this playground rules, and here is some code for you, so that you can actually configure the test network IPFS as well. So you also need to configure the test network IPFS. You can do it like this from this code snippet. Just paste it here. It's going to do the thing for you. It's going to set the headers for the IPFS like this. Right. So what we just did. So actually, to store this content on the IPFS layers, you can use any of these layers. Crust is one of them, example, Filecoin, and there are tons of these types of layers. We are using Crust for test network. This is a key for their testnet, which we can use test account, which we can use to post the content on the test network. Our playground is also using that one only. So what we did, we created this space content. Next, what we need is we need to post this. This is a transaction that this is the content we have created. It's already on the IPFS now. What we need to do, we basically going to create in a transaction format so that the blockchain also knows about this. So for that, let's say we do something tweet transaction, and in the tweet transaction we can call await subsocial API dot. There we use substrate API dot. This also needs to be in await. Okay. So yeah, or we can do it in this format as well. So we were going to first get our substrate API, which is also an asynchronous call. Once we get our substrate API, then we can do tweet our transaction. And in this tweet transaction, we're going to use this substrate API dot. There is a thing called TX for transactions. And now we're going to tell what we're going to do. We're going to use the posts palette, like everything related to post we're going to do now. And we're going to use this command called create post. So in create post, you need to pass something which is called space ID. We're going to add this one, and we also need to pass about what type of post. So there are 3 types of posts I'm going to tell you. And then we also need to pass the content. What's the content of the post? So first of all, let's deal with this space ID. So space ID is basically, as I said, if you create a post, it's linked to some spaces, like it is a part of a space. So for now, if you see on the playground, I created a space from here. The ID for that space was space ID was 1006. This was the space ID. So only I can post the content in this particular space. So here I'm going to use that same space ID. If it is not there, you can create a new space ID from the code as well, like what we did, create post. So if you see the code for creating a space, it's very similar as well. Yeah, this is the post to create a space. TX dot spaces, create space, and the content for the space. That's it. Now, if we talk about the types of posts, there are 3 types of posts. One is a regular post, like you do tweet, that is a regular post. Now, the second is a shared post. That means like you retweet with a quoted messages, or like normal retweeting. That is a shared post. And the third one is reply. So reply is also a form of post, which is attached or linked in a specific way to a particular post. So if I created a regular post, you can reply to it. Your reply will also be a post, but it is actually attached to my post, so that makes it as a reply. So on your front end, you can just use this logic to get all the shared post, all the regular post, and every single thing separately. So our SDK supports all that. You don't need to worry about how I'm going to link this. Everything is there in the SDK itself. So for now, if you want to create a regular post, we just need to pass here that it's a regular post. I can just do it in this format. A kind of a flag is, it's kind of flag we pass that it's a regular post. Now what we need to pass next is that it's also the IPFS content. So content could be a string or anything, but it's actually IPFS content, so that our SDK knows that whenever I see like this IPFS content, I have to fetch the data as well from this IPFS. Else, if it would have been just a normal string, our SDK would not know that I have to fetch some data from it. I think things are a bit very fast, so you can ask your questions. So if you see, interestingly, this is not an asynchronous call. You actually just created a transaction in the code, but when you send this transaction to do something, that makes things asynchronous. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to create use sign and send. Like we're going to create a new method called sign and send transaction. So we can get this method again from our docs itself. So if you see, we have this transaction.sign and send. We can just copy this logger method and these methods in our code, so that will save us some time. So what this logger method do is nothing, just logs out the progress as things are happening into a console. Okay, so yeah, and there is also a method called sign and send transaction. We're going to use this method. So what it does, what the sign and send transaction does, it basically gets all the accounts available. Then it gets the account ID from the particular account you want to sign the transaction with. And from there, what it do, it shows you, we don't need to use the show toast thing for us. It's just console log, right? We can just do console.log. So what it does, where are we? Yeah. So it gets all the account like we did in the login page. Then it do this method. This is the very important method. It says tx, like the particular transaction we got, dot sign async. It signs the transaction first using the account ID, the particular account ID, and the signer. Signer is also got from the account ID specifically. So most of our work was done here only. So that is the part where we have to logically think and get the logic implemented. At this layer, what we are just doing is that we are just sending the transaction from these 3 lines of code from that particular account. So once you click on this like dot send, what it will do, the specific account ID you passed, it's going to check for that account ID in this list from addresses, what I already explained. Get the account ID, it asks the user with the prompt message which I showed you earlier, and ask the user to sign it. If the user does sign, it sends it to the blockchain, and then blockchain processes automatically. So things are very simple. You just need to copy paste this particular code snippet, and that's it. What you care about more is about this thing, like creating the transaction, using these transactions and the data logically for your web app. So if we do this thing, we need to pass the transaction and the account ID. So for the transaction, I can just use this tweet transaction thing, and to pass the ID, I can maybe like copy this particular ID I want to use. That's it. We're good. Now what I have to do, like that's it. I created the code to, I wrote the code to create a new tweet. Now we just need to import it in this file. So I'm going to just do import post tweet from the logics file. That's it, paste it, going up here, refreshing the page once. Maybe we should go to the login and like see everything from the start. Okay, so we got some error. Says API is not defined. No problem. Let's see. Okay, so it's not API. It's this. The variable name was this. So you can see it's connected to the blockchain. I'm going to refresh it once again, making sure that we don't get the error again. It's connecting, and it's connected to the blockchain. I click on here. It shows me all the accounts. Right now, if I'll just clean this logs. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write my first tweet. So I written some content here. Click on tweet. So what it does, you can see it again, fetch the transaction. It opened this from the Polkadot.js extension. You can see one here, like one pending transaction is there. I have to enter the password for this particular account. I hope I remember. Let's try a couple of passwords. Yeah, I do remember. So now you can see the transaction is ready. The transaction is in broadcast. Eventually, this transaction would be sent to the blockchain. So the blockchain will give us the response whether or not like this post has been added or not. Meanwhile, since if you are a front-end engineer, what you can do, this thing is going to happen in the background. You can just add the content on the UI so that the user don't feel the friction of processing the transaction and getting it signed and every single thing. Those things could be done in the backend. On the front end, you can just directly show this tweet that this tweet is there. Now you can see the status is that it's in block. So your transaction has been approved, it's been signed, and it's added in the block. So the tweet, the content I created is on the blockchain now. You can see how easy it is to create some content. Now, if I want to fetch some content, how can I fetch some content? I can create a new method here. For example, if I want to fetch all the tweets which are there, I can do something like create const. Yeah, this ID and this method is not defined for now. We have to import it, but yeah, it's created. You can see the transaction finalized. This is the block hash. There is this method which we also need to import from our library. That this get new IDs method. So it basically gives us the ID of the particular recently created post. So yeah, there is an import statement for that as well. You can use that import statement and you will have the ID. Okay, so what I was saying, yeah, now let's see how we can fetch these tweets. Fetching is very easy as well, like easier than creating the post. Like for creating some content, we had to call the wallets and like a lot of things. For fetching, we can just directly query our blockchain. We can say fetch tweets In this, what we're going to do, this is also going to be asynchronous method. Okay, in this asynchronous method, we're going to basically get the first of all the IDs of the content. Like first we get the IDs, and then we for every ID we get the post. So we say tweet IDs, and for the tweet IDs we say await Subsocial API dot. Now from here you can use dot base, or then you have to get the post. So we call post in our SDK, this this method is called post IDs by sorry, B capital IDs by space ID. Now we're going to pass here the space ID which we have. So we pass the space ID here. This will get us, like with just this line of code, we get all the IDs of the post in this particular space. We can, if you want, we can just log these tweet IDs. Next, what we can do for these, every single tweet ID, we need to fetch all the tweets. So we say tweets await. From here, we can do Subsocial API dot base dot. This base means like the flattened API which we have from our SDK, not specifically for IPFS or the blockchain, but combining these two both to get us the content, right? We want this content to be linked. So we can say find post, and then here we have to pass the object with the IDs of all the posts. So we have tweet IDs for that. Now I'm going to just console log these tweets as well. Let's quickly call this particular function somewhere in our home page, or here I think we can, use the use effect. Okay, in this use effect hook, we can call this method to fetch the tweets for us. We don't need to pass anything here. We can just call this method. Okay, there's some problem. We need to go to the home page. Maybe if we go to the login page again and then do the thing. Connected to the blockchain. Click here. It says Subsocial API base. Post IDs by space ID is not a function. So okay, I got it. So I think I did some mistake in this post IDs by space ID, maybe some typo or anything. API.blockchain. All right. Yeah. Sorry. So you can use this quick reference guide or playground to just check and get the data and know if things are going well or not. So what we have to do here is that blockchain, and the method name should be post IDs by space ID. The method name is correct. So go here. Cannot recover. Subsocial API is initialized. This is initialized at the top. Once this is initialized, we should be able to get the data from it. Social API blockchain. Okay, maybe let's retry this. So yeah, you can see we do not get this is the basically array of everything which was fetched. So let's do something like content. Okay, we need to refresh the page as of now. So you can use better state management for all these variables as of now. These variables are getting lost because it's not state managed. So you can use hooks, use state, and redux to handle the state. So yeah, you will get basically the list of all the content and the posts which were added to this, like here. Yeah, as of now, it doesn't show any posts because there might not be any. So yeah, in this format, you can get the post, and there similarly, if you want to, let's say, do some reaction to a particular post, you can just go on there, use the account API.blockchain, and just get it. This is fetching. You are fetching the reactions about a particular post from here. But if you go to this place where we can create a post reaction, so you go to this place, tx.reactions, create post reaction, and then the post ID and the message, like it's upvote, downvote, or what. In a similar format, if you want to check if someone is following you or not. So all the methods and APIs are directly available in the SDK. And the way I linked it to the blockchain, you can see that we had the front end part, which was a Twitter UI, which was created by someone, and we had the blockchain already. So what I did, I just tried to link it together. So in a similar format, at your perspective, you will not have the front end already. So you're going to write the front end code, design the UI for your DApp according to the users you want. So if you are creating Instagram or anything like that, or you're facing the like you're solving the challenges which I showed to you, so create the UI specifically for that case and link it to the Subsocial SDK like this way. So yeah, like this is the real world example of building like decentralized apps. So everything is on the chain. You own the content. If you change the UI, even if you change the UI, you will still get the access to your content, right? So that's the beauty of taking the social graph from one place to any other DApp, and like you own the content, you own your audience, so you can take them anywhere you want. All right, guys, that was a quick demo. Resources, there's a lot of resources which we have available for you here. So you can use these resources. There are also YouTube tutorials on our YouTube channel as well, detailed tutorials about this Twitter example. Like we built like reactions and every single thing in that particular video as well. So we have a couple of examples, the playground, the reference guides, a lot of things are there. So what you need to do after this session now is that go to the Discord server of the IBC Media. And in that Discord server, you will see this particular channel, Subsocial Datathon. So you have to say hi to everyone in this channel who's attending this session, and then tell a little bit about what's your background, what your tech stack, and which idea you are interested in building. I showed you 3 challenges right now. So just let me know which idea you are interested in, so that you can form teams and build together. Our team will be available all the time during the hackathon to provide you support. You can tag me on the Discord server. I'll reply you as soon as possible. And yeah, just form the teams, build these ideas, use the SDK to build a browser extension, backing up the tweets data to Subsocial, fully decentralized social apps. A lot of things are possible. Just show us what max you can do together. Yeah. That's it from my side. If you have any queries or anything like that, then you can ask now.
So, Tushar,
We
I
have a
think
few
the moderator, Dhruv, will continue, but then my name is Praveen Thakur. I am the Chief Operating Officer of IBC Media. And I just wanted to say one thing to you is that one of the best workshops I have attended. I think you have done a fantastic job. And I think I loved the way you, showed how exactly it can be done. So I think I just wanted to commend you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy like you all enjoyed. So yeah, so I would love to see the projects, all the people who are in this meeting who are building. So we personally check your projects. We try to provide you support you need for the hackathon. So just team up, build something amazing, and we would love to give you prizes and every single thing you need to do.
Right. Okay. So we'll just take a few questions.
Yeah.
This is a few anonymous user itself. So one of the questions is social media could be different types, such as video sharing, this tweets, Facebook, and many others. So how Subsocial as a framework is able to handle all the requirements? Is the SDK so exhaustive?
Sorry, can you repeat once? I mean.
So there are different types of social media, right? There's video sharing, there's tweet, and there's Facebook, and there's many others. So how Subsocial as a framework is able to handle all these requirements?
All right, yeah. That's a pretty good question. Actually, that's the beauty of the current data structure we are on. So we are using a very standard like space post reactions data structure. So if you check any social media, for example, Instagram, Twitter, even if you call YouTube as a social media, you will have following, you will have content in a particular channel, which we call space. So you can rename these things and use the same data structure. Now about storing the content. So you can store the content as in the format you want. So you can store the content onto the IPFS, like the decentralized network, and just get the content ID there and store it in the blockchain. So our SDK will automatically link it for you, and you will get the particular ID and you can stream it. So for example, if you are building a Instagram where you want to like post some images, it's very easy. You can do it in the same way, like the where I created save content in the IPFS. You can save an image data in base 64 or in any other format, and you can even upload files to this IPFS network. At the end, you will get the content ID, which we care the most, and you can store it on the blockchain. So yeah, that is very much possible, and we have actually seen the projects in this direction as well, where you can do, for example, our example app is also allowing people to store embedded links, images, and stuff like that. So yeah, you can do, of course, everything you want with the beauty of this data structures.
Tushar, I think as a follow-up question, this is Praveen again. This way, when we talk about the network databases where you store the connections between different people, at different levels. So how is that part, taken care of in, decentralized world, and especially in Subsocial? Where do you store that? Do you really go and take help of the centralized databases, or or not?
Storing what?
The connections between, say, for example, you are my connection in Facebook, for example. Now, your connection is Dhruv, and then maybe, based on all those things, I will be shown that, I might want to connect to him, or all those things that happen, in Facebook, right? I'm trying to understand where are these connections stored in the decentralized world. I'm
sure. I got the question.
Yeah, I'm sure you are not going to go and take help of some centralized databases, right? You will
100%. That's the problem we are trying to solve. So if let's say I and you are connected over LinkedIn, and we are we are connected over LinkedIn, and that's the only way, but actually in this connection between you and me, which is very professional, and we love to see each other's content which we are creating, but there is a mediatory, which is the LinkedIn platform. So that on the platform, we can only talk to each other while we are allowed on that platform. So that's a big problem with Subsocial. These connections, like following, are stored at the blockchain level. So if you query to the blockchain, you will see that if you query that who am I following, you will see your account ID there. So it's always going to be there. No one can remove it other than me. And even the DApp owners, like the person who creates a DApp on top of Subsocial, he cannot do it. So this connection is this is a direct connection. So we can move to any other platform and we still have that bond. So yeah, those things are handled on chain using the IDs which are there. So it's not.
Yeah, I understood that. So basically, the way you are posting a transaction on chain, those transactions have these properties, right? Are they open-ended? You can have 100 such connections, or if that is so.
Yes. So LinkedIn wants you to connect to, let's say, 25K people for now and anything like that. But whereas on the blockchain level, you own your audience, you own your connections. So these things are holded, there are custom palettes and custom, these things are code driven more towards on the blockchain. So you can have as much as connections you want. Those connections are your own connections and are on the blockchain directly. They are not hosted on IPFS or anything. Your connections are hosted on the blockchain. So people can see that we both are connected, but people cannot do anything about it. They cannot remove our connections.
Understood. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dhruv, continue.
So I think we'll take one last question. So would you consider Lens protocol to be an ideal decentralized social media platform?
So Lens protocol is one of the other technology which is trying to solve which is trying to work in a similar direction. But at the fundamental level, we are different. Subsocial is very much different from Lens protocol at the fundamental level, because you can think of Lenses don't have their own chain. They are running on the Polygon blockchain, right? So the security which Subsocial can provide you is much more than any other, since they are just smart contracts written on Polygon. So we have our own chain. We can give you a lot of more features possible. So even with one of our feature, you can, let's say I'm inviting you to my project, my DApp, and you don't need to go through the hassle of getting some tokens, buy some tokens, and then use my product. I can just pay the transaction fees. So with every transaction, you will have to pay some fees, right? So I can pay the fees for you. And those features could only be possible because of having our own chain. And secondly, we with Subsocial, since it's a part of the Sama ecosystem, it's a parachain on Kusama network. We inherit the securities by these networks already. So we are most secure than like Kusama or Polkadot, the whole ecosystem. We are strong and secure than anything else. So that is also makes us different. So yeah, that's the most different part. But yeah, we are working in the like a similar sort of direction. But with the new features and new things which Subsocial is doing, is taking the things towards more decentralized and censorship resistant. If that answers your question.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. So I think we'll conclude. Anything you would like to add before we conclude?
I guess that's it. It's not just about this particular session. You can ask me questions anytime on the Discord servers. Join the Subsocial Discord server and Telegram chat as well. I'll love to help. Just focus on, the only we built a technology. It would only make sense if you take it seriously and build the solutions for the users. So we are building the technology which you need to reach to those users. So just build the dApps, solve for these challenges, and form the teams, like work together as a partners, teammates, and create an amazing solution. So we would love to support you in any way possible. Even after the hackathon as well, we will try to give you mentorship, guidance. Even in, let's say, when you want to take your product to the users, we can help you with that. So there are tons of ways. We are ready to help you. It's just that we would love to see the initiatives from your direction. Just just stay in connection and build for the hackathon. All the best.
All right. So I think we're good to conclude. So that was a very interesting session. Thank you so much. We had a lot of valuable takeaways for our participants and everyone watching on YouTube too. So we were live on YouTube all the way. So thank you all for joining us. You made knowledge sharing a bit more fun when it comes to these workshops. And of course, it wouldn't have been possible without the Subsocial team. So thank you so much for that. And we have the Subsocial track of the IBC hackathon, which is happening. I will be sharing the link for that in the chat box right here. So these workshops that you attend with us, they are like a nice founding stone. So you can go further, implement whatever you learned in these workshops in the hackathons that we have. So there's a particular track which is a Subsocial track for the IBC hack, and you can register for it. So I'm just sharing the link right here. So do make sure you register, and as soon as we register for the hackathon, also make sure you join our Discord channel so you can stay in touch with the mentors, you can stay in touch with the team. So I think that's all. Yes, you can scan this QR code right here. So make sure you join. You can also stay in touch with Tushar with the Discord server. So
yes, 100%.
So registrations for these hackathons anyway have been filling fast. So make sure you hop on before the seats run out, and also follow us on our social medias. I've already shared the link. So make sure you follow our social medias to stay updated with all the activities. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah. Bye everyone. All the best.
Thank you.